Hi everyone, thanks for joining me today. I am about 8 weeks out from my last frost date here in my zone 6B7, and it's time for me to sow poppies. Poppies are one of my absolute favorite, all-time favorite flowers, and right now is the perfect time to sow poppy seeds. You see the ice cube tray I have here. No, I'm not out here making iced tea. This year I'm adding another method for sowing poppies. So stay tuned with me and I'll show you exactly what I did to prepare these to get them ready for sowing. Poppy seeds need at least a 2-week period of cold stratification in your fridge or freezer, and I always keep a silica gel packet in mine just to keep the moisture out of the seeds. These are the varieties I am sowing this year. Knowing me, I will probably pick up a few more varieties of poppies just because I love them so much. One of the advantages of sowing the poppy seeds in the ice cube trays for me is that I can control the amount of poppy seeds that I sow. Poppy seeds are very tiny, so sometimes I get a little heavy-handed when I'm direct sowing them, and also this helps to be able to place them exactly where I want them. So what I did was I filled my ice cube trays just a little less than half full. And then I froze the ice cube trays so that the ice cubes would be frozen. And then I basically just placed the poppy seeds on top of the frozen ice cubes. I did a little bit of experimenting before I shared this with you on camera. And I placed the poppy seeds in the ice trays, and then I poured water on top of a few of the little cells there. But that didn't work because it causes the poppy seeds all to gather in one end of the little cell of the ice cube tray. So I had to rethink it. It's not real clear. I've watched a couple of videos on Instagram, and they're not real clear of how they do this process. So I kind of had to figure it out for myself. I was trying to eliminate this extra step of pre-freezing the water half full in the ice trays and then taking them out once they were frozen and then placing the seeds and then going to the next step. But it just didn't work that way. Poppies can take anywhere from 7 to 30 days to germinate, and they just love the cool weather. So this is a great method to use. I always like to sow my poppies around 8 weeks before my last frost date, which is usually around April 23rd. So I'm in a good time frame here. This is a great method if you live in a warmer climate. You can keep these ice cube trays with your poppy seeds in them for the 2 weeks, the 2-week period before you want to sow them out. And then you wait for your germination period. But this is a really good method. I'm thinking it's going to work really well. Now you're seeing the final step of this process, and I'm sprinkling a little water on top of the poppy seeds. And next I will refreeze them. If I were to just take out the ice cubes after placing the poppies on top, the poppy seeds were not adhered to the ice cubes. So I needed to do this final step just so they could adhere to the ice cubes, and I didn't want to displace the poppy seeds too much, so I'm just basically sprinkling some water on top of them. After I'm finished with this step, then the ice cube trays go back into the freezer for their final freezing. This whole process only takes a couple of hours, but as I said, you could leave your ice cube trays in there for a couple weeks if you needed to do your cold stratification period. And then when I'm done, my poppy seeds go back into my freezer and wait until I'm ready to sow them again. The first thing I did was just rough up the ground just a little bit. It's pretty well thawed here from our really hard winter, but I roughed up the ground with my rake just a little bit. I'll show you up close because I emptied out the ice cube tray. I'll show you up close what the little poppy seeds look like there. And you heard me explain the reason why I'm doing this method. So because I know I have some bulbs that will be coming up in here, some lilies, I want some poppies just intermingled in here. So I'm just basically going to take an ice cube with the poppy seeds in it, and I'm going to step on it. And that is it. kind of where I think I want them. It doesn't really matter which way the ice cube lands, whether it's upside down, but kind of where I think I want them. So I'm here over on the side of my house, and I have bulbs coming up in here everywhere and nigella. I did notice that they start thawing out really quickly. So you want to get them planted and sown like you want them pretty quick before they thaw out, because then the seeds will come right off the ice cubes and get on the bottom of your shoe. That's no good. So I had the beautiful pom-pom poppies from Baker Creek Seeds last year right in here, and they were kind of on this trellis and they did so well. So I think I'm going to plant a few more if I can step around all of my my bulbs here that are coming up. You really don't want to cover your poppy seeds. They need light to germinate. I'm just stepping on them, smashing them down. I have a real pretty purple iris right here that is a rebloomer in spring and then again in the autumn. So it's really pretty. Obviously the thought behind this is that the ice cubes will melt and then will be in contact with the soil. Also, as you heard me say during the preparation of these, this is part of their cold stratification period. And I forgot to mention that I did have to go in the house and put on a hat. I never do anything with my hair down. I don't know why I think I can keep my hair down when I'm working. It just doesn't work for me. So I'm just pressing these into the soil. I've got one more tray to sow, and I'm not sure exactly where I'm going to sow those yet. So I want to think about it a bit longer. When I do direct sow poppy seeds just from the seed packet, which you can do, I usually cover them with cloches because I don't know if you can hear the birds. I feed the birds in the wintertime, and the birds like to hang around the perimeters of the house and scratch up and whatever they do. With my experiences with poppies in the past, if I just randomly sow the seed, one year I sowed hundreds of poppy seeds and I had maybe 1 or 2 poppy plants because the birds found the seeds. Amazingly, they just found those teeny tiny seeds, and if you've ever seen poppy seeds, they're teeny tiny like you saw in the ice cube there. They are teeny tiny, but the birds found them. So a lot of times what I'll do is just sow a little area of them and then cover that area with a cloche until the seeds germinate, and it protects them from the birds eating them. So I will also do that just because I like to do all different methods, because I want to make sure I have plenty of poppies. I am winter sowing in some milk jugs, and I'm also winter sowing in some zipper bags, some plastic zipper bags. So you're seeing a little clip of the zipper bags now. With poppies, they do not like their roots disturbed. It causes their growth to be stunted. So what I've done in the past when I winter sow poppies, I just, once they're about 3 or 4 inches tall, ready to transplant, I just take a clump of them. I don't try to pick out individual seedlings. I just take a clump of them and plant them wherever I want them, and I've had great success doing that. My experience with poppies is that they start blooming around mid to late May, and they bloom all the way up to around the 1st of July, maybe just a little bit after. They'll pretty much stop blooming when it gets really hot. They don't love the hot weather. But there's a good long period of time that you'll have poppies. And as I said, the pollinators just love them. So poppies are really, I think, an essential part of a cottage garden. And I'm looking at my cut flower gardens quite differently this year. I need to get my thoughts together and some pictures together for you before I share it with you. But I will share that with you and how I'm going a little bit different route than I have in the last several years. I'm excited about that. I like to be able to change it up, and since I'm not a flower farmer and I need to rely on cut flowers for income, I can change it up. So I'm really excited to do that. I hope you're growing poppies in your garden, and please do share with me the method that you like to use for growing poppies. If you haven't grown them, give them a try. You will love having poppies in your garden. Until next time, friends, happy gardening. Bye-bye.